Now that was a finale worth watching. The future of Amazon's Wheel of Time might be up in the air if the rumors surrounding its renewal are true, but if that is the case, then at least the final episode of Season 3 was a banger and a half. We finally got to the end of Rand Atreides' travels through the Aiel Waste, and if you thought the Dune similarities were going to end there, you're sorely mistaken. That's just the beginning, as are many other things about Season 3's ending. So, in this video, we're going to give you our top 5 predictions for Season 4 of the Wheel of Time. So, strap on your spoiler hats because this will be one bumpy ride. The Aiel Civil War, the true Karn and the false. The Aiel at the end of Season 3 are somehow both united and divided. Throughout the season, Rand al'Thor has been hard at work trying to assimilate himself with the desert-dwelling warrior people, trying to figure out a way by which he can become not just one of them, but the first among equals. It seems like his answer to that problem is to be a leader who tells hard truths, and that started in the Season 3 finale, with Rand revealing that the Aiel used to be followers of the Way of the Leaf, and that all of them were oathbreakers in a way. This revelation shook the Aiel to their core, and has the same effect as it does in the books, with the nation being divided between those who believe Rand and those who don't or choose to be ignorant. The Shaido are among the foremost of these people. Their entire clan hates the Wetlander Rand so much that they faked a Karn just to keep him away from becoming Chief of Chiefs. This happens in the novels as well, but it's facilitated by a Forsaken who is missing from the show. In the novels, Asmodean was the one who gave Kaladin his dragon markings because he didn't want Rand to gain more power than he already had, but in the show, Lanfear does it, and she does it out of pure jealousy. She wants Rand to suffer for rejecting her, and we see Rand and Egwene standing at the ready for her when they confront her in Dragon Reborn. We suspect that the Aiel Civil War will follow the same path as it did in the novels, in that the Shaido will attack Cairhien first. Kaladin will use the false pretext of trying to avenge the ancient wrong that King Leman committed against their people to consolidate his position, but he won't be able to do it for too long. Rand's first test as the Karn will be to deal with not only the disintegrating Aiel culture, but also the rampaging Shaido, which will eventually lead him to tussle with Cairhien as well. We'll talk about that more in another section of this video, but for now, expect the Aiel Civil War to be a major focus for Season 4, because once that's accomplished, Rand will go do something he already did before hitting the Aiel Waste in the novels, and that's retrieving Callandor. The mission for Callandor finally begins! With his position as the Karn secure, Rand can finally turn his focus towards Tyr, because it's a crucial part of his prophecy. The Stone of Tyr will never fall till Callandor is wielded by the dragon's hand. The Stone of Tyr will never fall till the people of the dragon come. In the novels, Rand uses a small force of Aiel to infiltrate the incredibly complex military compound that is the Stone of Tyr, and make his way to its heart, where he'll find both Callandor and Ishamael. It's possible that Ishamael didn't die in the TV series as well, because to be completely honest with you, that fight happens before we understand how Dragon Reborn works. And there are several hints in the novels that many of Rand's encounters with Ishamael take place within the dream world, not the real world, including their fights. In the finale, Moiraine notes that now Rand has enough spears to invade and capture the Stone of Tyr, but in the novels, he doesn't have any need for an army this big. Rand actually goes off to Tyr by himself, and his friends have to sort of track him down as he starts noticing the first signs of madness. We can assume that Rand will no longer be pulling off such a solo stunt, and frankly, thousands of Aiel showing up to the oldest existing structure in the world does make for a much better visual representation of the people of the dragon's arrival. After dealing with the Shaido, Rand's next move would be to go towards Tyr, but he will probably have to deal with another invasion before that because his enemies are starting to mobilize rapidly. The Forsaken's next move! The Wheel of Time TV show has made a few adjustments to the Forsaken's lineup. Some of them are missing, while others have died a lot earlier than they were supposed to. Case in point, the Forsaken Samael. In the show, Samael was killed by Moghedien in extremely grotesque fashion. In the novels, he played a much bigger role than just being Rand's forced teacher. He joined the Council of Nine, which rules over Ilion, one of the most important territories in the known world. When the Shaido attack Rand's Aiel, Samael more or less backs them up and has an epic one-on-one channeler battle with the Dragon Reborn. By that standard, he gets punked out in the show, but that also leaves the door open for another character to take his place. Before dealing with Samael, Rand has to deal with Ravin, and the last we saw of him, he was making his alliance with Lanfear a lot more permanent. Ravin is one of the trickiest Forsaken to deal with because his compulsion is as good as Moghedien's, if not better. We saw evidence of this in Elayne Trakand's complete disbelief at Tom Merrilyn's claim that he'd never heard of a Lord Gabriel. Ravin's compulsion is so powerful that he made Elayne think that she's known him since she was 5 years old and forget about Tom at the same time. He's clearly one of the heavy hitters from the ranks of the Forsaken, and with his powers of compulsion, it will be effortless for him to take control of Andor. Andor has a proud tradition of raising queens only to the Lion Throne, but if a ruler's children are forbidden from claiming royal titles, and the ruler herself can no longer serve, then her consort becomes king. Olivia Williams' brief appearance as Under Compulsion Morghese was one of the highlights of Season 3, and it's just a shame that we might not get to see that again. Wheel of Time is changing quite a few details from the novels, so it's possible that when Ravin takes the throne of Andor, he kills Morghese outright. In the novels, she's able to trick her way out of it and repent for her time spent as a tyrant before reuniting with her daughter. And speaking of her daughter, Elayne Trakand needs to go back home quickly. She's been warned that her throne is in danger, but she doesn't exactly appreciate the full depth of that just yet. She knows that whoever Gabriel is has to be a Forsaken, because only Moghedien has been able to compel her like this before. But is Elayne ready for the responsibility that comes with being queen? And will Rand be prepared to take on the mantle of kingship when it eventually finds its way to him? He doesn't know this yet, but he technically has a claim to the Lion Throne as well, and if Aiel is out of the picture, then his first stop after the Shido on his way to Tyr will be killing Ravin. Now, whether he smartens up to the Forsaken's games before that remains to be seen, because they're not just hunting him, they're fighting amongst themselves trying to gain the highest favor with the Dark One. But their ranks have been thinning out ever since Rand grasped his destiny, and there's only so much failure the Dark One can live with. Andor will go to war with Rand's Aiel. It's only a matter of time. We're more interested in seeing how the aftermath unfolds, especially now that Moghedien has the artifact she needs to collar the dragon. Throughout Season 3, Liandrin has been hunting for the domination bracelets and collar in the city of Tanchico, because she wants to join the ranks of the Forsaken. Moghedien finds it hilarious that she thinks bringing her this domination collar will make her one of the chosen, but she can't deny Liandrin's usefulness. Early on in Season 3, we saw her and Ravin acting extremely chummy with one another. It's quite possible that Moghedien will join Rand's battle against Ravin and give her collaborator the power to collar the dragon, but that remains to be seen. As reverent as she seemed of him in that scene, she also has coldly betrayed everyone she knows in favor of her personal plan of action, details of which remain scarce. One thing is certain, however, whatever she's doing can't be good for Rand, and if she joins up with Ravin, then he will be in a lot more trouble than he was in the novels at this point in the story. Mat's Fox Medallion and the Endgame. One of the highlights of the finale was Mat's confrontation with the Eelfin. Because he didn't travel to Ruidion with Rand like he does in the novels, Mat needed another place to enter the Twisted Red Doorway. The Panarch's Palace, which is said to house the largest collection of artifacts in the world, seems to us a suitable replacement for the City of Dreams. The Eelfin are undoubtedly one of the creepiest beings in all of Wheel of Time lore, and the way the TV show captured their menacing nature was just chef's kiss. But they kinda switched up Mat's questions, or shall we say demands. The Eelfin are a race of beings that seem to grant gifts to whoever enters their domain for a price. Those who are aware of this price are usually able to bargain with the Eelfin and keep their lives, but if we know anything about Mat Cauthon, it's that he's the most likely person to enter a trapdoor headfirst with a big-ass smile on his face. He had no idea what the Eelfin did at first, which made him ask for the voices in his head to stop and for the powers of the world to stop screwing with him. By the time he realized that he will be granted what he asks for, it's too late, because the Eelfin bargaining with Mat has decided to send him back in a noose. He's incredibly lucky that Min Farshaw was there to save his butt, and it looks like the show is turning these two into a couple, which would not be a great idea for a number of reasons. But the fact of the matter is that Mat survives the Eelfin and returns with a gift that might just be of utmost importance to the last battle. Mat's final scenes see him telling Min that the voices in his head have subsided, but now he can't remember anything about how he got there. When someone tries to channel on him, it doesn't work, and we get a close-up of the only physical gift that the Eelfin gives him, a fox head medallion with the Aes Sedai logo as its eye. This medallion is going to end up becoming crucial in the last battle because, as you guys might realize in Season 4, it has the power to block all use of one power or true power on the person who bears it. You can still be affected by phenomena created using the one power. So, for example, you won't be able to burn Mat directly using a fire weave, but you could definitely use fire weaves to heat up the atmosphere enough to create a thundercloud and then direct the lightning that comes off of that towards the bearer to damage him. This will require knowledge of his possession of the medallion and an absurd amount of battle IQ to figure out, however, which is why it will become Mat's main protection against the Forsaken. Hell, because it's a ter'angreal, most likely, it might even be possible to copy it and distribute it amongst the Defenders of Light, because what better protection can you have against the Forsaken than a talisman that cancels their weaves? Mat's medallion is yet another unique item that he can add to his collection of ultra-powerful junk and trinkets, and we can't wait to see how the showrunners direct his story from this point onward. But that brings us to the last part of our predictions video, which is honestly quite a head-scratcher for us. Are Moiraine and Lanfear dead? This is a tricky one to answer considering the show left things a lot more ambiguous and unambiguous at the same time. Ambiguous in the sense that they ended things on a cliffhanger, and unambiguous in that at least we saw where they both are in their final moments. In the books, Moraine's confrontation with Lanfear is different. It happens after Rand has secured Caerhien at the docks of that city, where Moiraine has the Eelfinn Gate transported to from Rhuidean, its original resting place. Lanfear attacks Rand directly instead of being drawn towards Moraine's beacon of one power, and the dragon's mentor pretty much tackles her into the doorframe as they both become lost to the Finn dimension. Neither Moiraine nor Lanfear is seen again for a very, very long time, to the point they're both presumed dead, and with good cause. But the TV show has taken a very different approach. Instead of giving us a battle between Lanfear and Rand, it gave us a battle between Lanfear and Moiraine, and this was a traditional battle, make no mistake. Two female channelers who represent the epitome of Sidar control in their respective ages, both Moiraine and Lanfear proved their superiority over every other woman in their lives, but ultimately, Moiraine had something Lanfear never has, and that's backup. Halfway through the battle, her warder, Lan, joined the fight because he discovered Lanfear's plot via a rogue Malkirian. He coordinated his attacks with Moiraine, who fought through the revelation that her lover was dead with a sword in her belly. In the end, both Lanfear and Moiraine were left fatally wounded because Lan and Moraine's tag team attacks worked. When Lanfear was occupied with one, the other found an opening and slashed her chest wide open. In the end, we see her open a portal to some place and disappear, while Lan takes Moiraine back to the Aiel camp. Their fates are still up in the air, but the thing is, this fight was different from what Moiraine saw in the Rings of Rhuidean. There, she was always alone in her confrontations with Lanfear. Lan joining her at the last possible moment might have just shifted the threads of her fate, and we wouldn't be too surprised to see her survive into Season 4. As for Lanfear, it's her survival that interests us more. In the written series, Lanfear makes her return a couple of books after her disappearance as a completely different woman. Reincarnation is a thing in Wheel of Time, and while many believe Rand to be unique, seeing as he's a direct reincarnation of Lews Therin Telamon, that might not necessarily be the case. Robert Jordan was extremely smart in creating the lore of his world. He specified that the concept of a ta'veren was not bound to birth or circumstance, but rather the need of the wheel. The pattern needs a Dragon Reborn in every age, and because Lews was technically the first one, his soul is the representation of that concept within the pattern. Both Lanfear and Moiraine are extremely powerful sorceresses and can be called ta'veren in their own way. Moraine's task to seek out and train Rand al'Thor makes her the most important teacher in Wheel of Time's current age, and Lanfear has been doing this since way before Moiraine was even conceived. She's also a holdover from the Age of Legends, so it's not a stretch of the imagination to think that she'll be reincarnated with much of her memory intact. The Dark One likes torturing his enemies and failures in more ways than one, and Lanfear learns that intimately in the second half of the series. We hope that Season 4, like Season 3, opens with an update on what the Dark One's minions are doing, specifically Lanfear. She's evil Icarus in that she's been orbiting the sun for centuries and she's been lucking out all this time. Now her wings will melt and her true worth to the Dark One will be revealed. That moment will be as disturbing as it was to try and see her justify torturing Egwene in her dreams as a way to make her stronger. While Lanny and Moiraine aren't ta'veren, they are extremely important to Rand's story. If the show decides to kill them off, the very concept that this series is built on allows the showrunners to bring them back. But if they don't kill either of them, or just kill one of them, then they change established canon forever, and that's what we're going to be waiting for when the series returns. Either way, expect Amazon to address the fate of these two badass women as early as they can, because Rosamund Pike and Natasha O'Keefe have been keeping this show alive. We'd hate to lose them so soon. Marvelous verdict! And that's it for our predictions. Let us know your thoughts on Wheel of Time Season 3 and your predictions for Season 4 in the comments down below. And, as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fantasy content. We'll see you guys in the next one, and until then, if you see any random red door frames just chilling out in nature, you'd best avoid them.